back, guys. Got the Kalamazoo Open here, hosted by Discover Kalamazoo. We got Crew 42 Productions hosting this.
Out here at BlueGil Disc Golf course in Wayland, Michigan. It's a private course. It's very well known and renowned in Michigan.
Top 2 in the state.
Yeah, Paul Macbeth actually stayed here for 2 weeks and just practiced once.
We got the TOWCH TWINS commentary. Myself and Reid Frescura.
Let us introduce to you the players that are going to be on the card. We got John Perry, 993 rated.
We got George Beno, 987, hometown of Highland. 39 career wins.
Andrew Marwede, 1016 rated from Kalamazoo. He's been doing a lot of touring lately this year.
Last but not least, we got Evan Wanamaker, 935 rated from Kalamazoo. Taking a look here at the front 12 scores, a lot of green, a lot of red. We got John Perry shooting hot so far, neg 4, closely followed by myself at neg 3 and George Beno neg 2. Evan doing all right there, even.
Yeah, let's see how they can mix things up here on the back 12. Hole 13, we got 235, par 3. Pretty basic hole. Deuce you always want to get. A lot of righties like to throw forehands or backhand putter turnovers. The lefty, just a basic flip up putter hyzer.
If you're getting a 3 on this hole, you're probably losing strokes to most of the field, so everyone's trying to stick this one close. We got John up here first, throwing a backhand, Anheuser, picture perfect shot if it sits. There's really only one tree to beat too that you see there on the right, that big tree sticking up. So anything past that tree is usually inside the circle. Throw my pro pig here on a forehand. Sits right next to the basket.
George here looks to be throwing probably a zone or maybe a breaker. He's been favoring that a lot lately.
Leaks a little bit inside, but there's definitely some room to work with if you leave inside. So he'll have a long putt for his 2. I think Evan's probably going back to that mortar or gator he's been throwing. Clips that tree, but got past it, so he'll have a tricky putt from back in the woods.
Let's see if George can make good on this one. And he does. That was rad-ish. Check out the crew view cam here.
Nice 45 footer or so. Evan got a little closer than I thought, so he was only about 20 feet away from the basket. 7 spot. Count it.
Something with the spots at the basket. I feel like they're not very well explained. Could you maybe explain to the viewers the spots of the basket quick?
Yeah, so the center of the basket would be the 5 spot. So it goes numbers 1 through 9, starting in the top left corner, going across, reading like a book. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that 7 spot is that low left corner of the basket that I seem to love so much.
So we got hole 14 right here, 345 feet. What I've seen a lot of righties like to do is throw a nice high hyzer with a fairway driver, maybe a distance driver, and have it kind of feed down the fairway onto the green. Otherwise, it's kind of a tough green to reach if you're throwing really any low shots. But
the most common mistake here is leaving it too wide. I see most people doing that with the backhand flip up. And really anything left or right early is going to be a very tough par save. So for the main focus for this drive is just get it most of the way down the fairway.
Get John here. Might be a long look.
Yeah, left a little short left. Throwing my T-bird here again. Doing that mistake of leaving it too wide. Looks like George makes a correction. Throwing a little bit more of a stable fairway driver, more rather than a flip up, but it seems to work nicely. Skips up there to maybe circle's edge putt.
Maybe a Star Destroyer from Evan.
I think I remember it being a T-bird. He has a nice star T-bird he's been throwing throughout the round. So
either way, excellent shot.
Throw my Pro Pig on a nice anti-flex. Just trying to put it up nice to the basket, which it does.
40 feet maybe?
Yeah, uphill. Probably plays a little bit longer, but...
Oh, just short.
Looks like he probably thought it was going in. Yeah, so George actually went inside the circle. Sneaks it in there.
You know those putters are beadless.
Evan with the park job. Taps in for his 2. Yeah, it's not necessarily the longest hole on the course, but definitely one that has a nice tight fairway, so it's one of the trickier ones to get a 2. So 2 really nice birdies on that hole.
Hole 15, par 3. I would say it's a tougher par 3. It can play like a par 4, but anyways, 410 feet. The goal here is to play a placement shot to the first hump so you can have a shot for the second hump. A lot of righties will either lay up or they'll play the aggressive shot and hope to get somewhere between the both and just get an easy up for a 3.
Yeah, I've only ever heard of a couple deuces on this hole, so the scoring average probably plays closer to par 4, but if you absolutely pure a distance driver, you can get to the bottom of the hill for like a circle 2 putt.
Got George up here playing the aggressive shot. Still in the fairway though.
Yeah, not a bad spot. You know Evan's going for this. Pulls it a little bit, kicks left. Yeah, probably not going to have too open of a shot from there. And John just laces this drive.
Oh.
Hits the only tree in the fairway.
He's asking God why right now.
I'm just doing a layup shot here with my Pro Pig forehand, just trying to play for the top of the hill. Leaks a little bit right, but
not happy, are you?
It's more of the open side, so.
Ooh, a wonderful forehand.
I was so happy I hit that gap too, because if I clip one of those trees, it's not going to be fun from there.
Good game, well played.
So he actually had a sky hyzer route, and I could not believe this when it left his hand. I think he was throwing his, it came and was what he'd been throwing, so. That was an amazing shot. No one ever saves par from there, or 3, so.
George here with that zone flex. Absolutely parks it. He's going to have trouble not hitting his head on the basket.
And John with the best drive of the group. Clips a little bit of cabbage on the left side, and not the ideal upshot he was hoping for, but has a putt for 3. Gives it a good run just over top the basket. Unfortunately, he'll be tapping in for his 4. Looks like we're going to have 3 threes here, and John with the lone 4. It's definitely a hole where you're expecting a 3, but after you get your 3, you're definitely happy with the score you got.
3 threes and a 4. Yeah, if you're taking a 3, you might be getting a stroke on the field on that hole.
So we got a downhill 264 foot, hole 16. The play here is probably for a putter backhand, possibly a mid-range. There's a lot of guardian trees, so there's really not a problem with going deep. It's just however far you can get down before you hit a tree. This hole does have a bowl effect too, as you can see it's at the bottom of the little pit, so most shots that get most of the way down there kind of filter towards the basket. Definitely one that you're looking for too.
Yeah, if you go short anywhere off the fairway on this hole, you should be very thankful if you can get a 3. We got George here with maybe a red, I would say breaker.
Definitely red though.
Yeah.
We got Evan. Looks like it's throwing a mid-range. Probably wanted a little more hyzer flip to that, but he made it most of the way down. Probably just be an easy 3 from there.
Have you ever had tournaments where you just throw only your Pro Pig?
There's been a couple tournaments, but usually from shorts.
The early kick.
That's pretty much the mistake that you don't want to make at all costs. So as you can see, he's trying to throw a sky forehand roller. I remember being out on the fairway in this one too, and it got most of the way down, but kind of clipped a late tree, but still an amazing out from where he was. Evan actually had a pretty tricky upshot too. I think he forehanded maybe a wizard or some kind of putter. But either way, nice shot by him.
John Perry, nice circles at, a little too pro side.
This is Evan coming back for his 3. So a pretty nice save from where his spot was.
So I mean, is there a sweet spot for these kind of baskets?
I feel like these Chainsword Pros are pretty well balanced. I have noticed that high left and high right don't like to catch, so pretty much anything else usually sticks, and it favors the hard putt.
Definitely a step up from the Chain Stars they had years ago, though.
Yeah, they don't really have those bounce backs off the pole. All right, we got hole 17 here, 333 feet. Definitely plays farther than that, though. It does go downhill at first, but this tight gap that we're going through right here is, I don't know, maybe 8 feet wide at most. So your main objective is hitting that gap, and anywhere up on this hill is a decent shot. It goes severely uphill, and a kind of elevated basket on top of this mound. So definitely a bonus birdie. Definitely one hole that can get you in trouble.
All right, we got George up first, throwing a vulture.
Squares it up, and he's kind of fortunate that I didn't kick left to right, because if you kick left to right, no bueno. Throw my star Thunderbird here, and there is an inside route. Who's to say I was going for it, though, but either way, it was kind of hyzered out pretty early, and also fortunate it didn't kick left to right.
Ooh, fought through a little bit.
And that was going to be pretty good if it didn't hit that tree. I think he went a little more outside more than he wanted, but he's in the middle, and he should be able to get up and down there from there pretty easily.
See how John makes out.
He takes the inside route, too. He definitely threw distance driver, I want to say. Gets up there for a putt.
All right, we got George with his upshot. Nice high hyzer, hoping to get up that hill.
Can't really tell what that hit, but should be a putt from there. Throwing my Sexton Firebird here, and I stood at this lie for a minute trying to decide what to do, but...
Wow, I was impressed on how much power you got from that standstill forehand.
Got Evan trying to throw it in. Has a pretty nice run at it, but lands flat. Should be tapping from there. And George is only probably about 45 feet away, but this is so uphill. You got to throw it at like 70 feet of distance probably to get it up that high. Not too happy with this putt, but it was a decent run.
Ooh, makes it in. It's good for his...
2.
Yeah.
That's a great birdie. So after that Firebird shot, I'm left with that for my par. Sneaks it in there. I'm walking away pretty happy with my par as I get a fist bump from Mitchell.
Is he a good caddy?
Yeah, I would give him 10-15 rated caddy for sure.
Oh, that'll do.
So yeah, 1 birdie, 1 bogey, and a couple pars. Most people are probably going to par that hole. But so moving past one of the hardest holes on the course, we got one of the easiest holes on the course. Hole 18, 235 feet. So it's one of the shortest holes, but the danger here is going right or too deep. It goes severely downhill. So you want to land this short of the basket and kind of slide up with like a turnover putter.
And as long as you can make that first gap, you're always going to be looking at some sort of 2-look. But yeah, here we have John.
Does the first task of hitting the gap. Turn it over pretty nicely. That looks pretty good.
Yeah. Circle 1?
Yeah. Got myself throwing a forehand on a backhand hole. Turn over a little bit.
Is that a power stomp?
Yep. So that's going to be pretty far away from the basket. And Evan makes the opposite mistake and leaves it too wide on the right side. So those are manageable to get a 3, but it's definitely not what you're looking for in this hole.
George just absolutely laces it.
He's going to be hanging out with John, actually probably a little closer, so. I think we're going to have Evan up first. Flicking a putter. That shot requires a lot of touch. Lands it nice and well inside the circle for his par save.
You were just trying to lay up on this one, though?
Yeah, there's no sense of running that. That actually slid down more than I thought, but like I said, if you go more than 15 feet past the basket, there's a good chance they can roll all the way down that hill. So this is somewhat of a death putt for John, but doesn't face him. He's going to wobble it back home.
A little bit wide, still catches. Very nice. So Andy, what do you call a sketchy Italian neighborhood?
I have no idea.
The Spaghetto.
All right, so we got 2 2s on that hole and 2 3s.
Got 3 people tied at 5 down right now. Evan trailing by just 3 strokes. Moving on to hole 19, par 3, 241 feet. The tree to beat was the one we just passed, which is on the right side, and the play to beat it. A lot of righties like to throw a turnover mid-range. As for me, the lefty, I like to throw a nice forehand flex. But
This hole definitely looks pretty easy. So the only danger on this hole is pretty much leaking right. So for that righty turnover, you're going to want to throw something stable. Make sure it finishes left of the basket. Otherwise, it's another one of those holes where it can roll 20 to 100 feet down that hill. You got John throwing his putter turnover. Doesn't really get the turnover that much, but has a kick to the right. He should have a pretty open look for his par at best.
We got George up next. Turns it over a little bit much, begging for it to go left.
You can kind of see it rolling in the distance and not going to be too close to the basket. Throw my MD3 here. Trying to play the flex route, but once again, that hill.
Got Evan up. Got a lot on that one.
At least a little bit wide. I couldn't really see where it landed, but it's on the safe side of the hill. So John just lays it up. Got like a 45-footer through this tight little gap, and
Oof.
when I putted that, I thought I made it.
Did you expect it to roll?
After I missed, I didn't really care. I was just upset that I missed it, but it gets caught up by some roots, so I don't have like a 20-footer to save par. Got George. Looks like he was running that putt.
It's definitely a more aggressive play to run the putt from downhill.
Right, yeah, if you're putting uphill, it's not as bad as a miss. Got Evan cleaning up nicely. You can see me in the background explaining to Mitchell, like, oh, the gap was this big.
Got George in the jungle here, about to tap out.
So it being one of the shorter holes, I'm kind of curious on what the birdie to bogey ratio was, because I'm assuming as many birdies as there were on this hole, there was definitely the same amount of bogeys just from rollaways alone.
I would have to agree on that, yeah.
So we got hole 20 here, 396 feet. The play is either throwing a straight fairway backhand, just dead straight, or the more common play is a big forehand. You want to go about 320 feet dead straight before it goes 90 degrees essentially to the right. And the gap that this camera's going through is the early gap. Most people are going to go a little bit further through those trees, try to get lucky, and pretty much hope to hit like a 60-foot putt or something. Definitely one of those holes where not a whole lot of people are going to it.
But a whole lot of people could definitely for it.
Correct, yeah. We got John here throwing the forehand. Probably a Kong. Little inside. I think it clipped the bottom of a tree. He's like, whatever. Just she'll par from there.
Got George up next. Also throwing a forehand. Gets it a little bit wider. Hoping for a little skip here.
That's kind of that gap I was talking about, just behind that first tree, and just hoping for a big flare skip. But there's so many like dead roots on the ground, it's kind of hard to predict the skip.
Yeah, it's kind of like spinning a roulette wheel.
Gotta make it back though. I'm throwing my Star Destroyer here. Tried to get a good skip, but hits one of those vines and knocks it down like 80, 90 feet short. Pretty ideal shot from Evan. Kind of hanging out by myself and George. That's kind of where the spot of most people's forehands end up.
John here had a nice little route to the basket, which he took advantage of with his forehand. Nice circle one putt.
That's going to be a great par save. Evan going back to that same putter he's been forehanding. Turns it over a little bit. Maybe it'll come back, but a little deep actually. It's going to have a little longer of a putt than he was hoping for. Got my DX AVR here. Straddle putt. Just trying to spin it, throw it up there off to the right. Hopefully hyzer back in, but not too worried about missing that one.
You got George here, probably 55-footer.
Leaves it a little low, but he'll tap in for his 3. Evan coming back with the tester putt, circle's edge. Sneaks it in there.
Great finish. Yeah, so it was like, I mean, it looks a little bit windy in those woods. Did it affect your putting at all, or was it noticeable?
Not too much putting in the woods. I did notice that I could see the leaves moving around much more than usual, but as soon as you get out towards the next hole in the Open, definitely it's going to affect the putting a lot more.
Yeah, and BlueGil is one of those courses where it's typically not windy, so this is very uncharacteristic of the course.
Got George here taking his time. I think he made it.
Yeah.
So we got all pars. Pretty decent scoring for the hole.
We got hole 21 up next, 450 feet. It's a wide open fairway, which eventually leads into a smaller gap, which is where you want to land your drive. So the righty is just going to throw, a nice turnover, 450. It's not terrible to crash into the trees. You may or may not have a putt once you get into there.
It's pretty uphill too, so it's a full drive, and most players want to land right where the camera is right now, just to give yourself like a 40-foot open look. Because like what Reid said, if you try to crash it in those trees and don't have a putt, you can be 15 feet away and have no look at all. Got John here throwing a stable distance driver. Looks like it's going to hyzer out a little bit early, and
yeah, just a bit left.
I think at best he might have like a forehand putter up shot. Not really a putt. George is definitely trying to attack this green, playing the flex high route.
Oh, there it is.
Doesn't quite hit the gap, so he'll be laying up from there, most likely. Got my Star Destroyer here. Trying to flip it up and penetrate that gap.
And that is a yam. Let's see how it finishes. Just a little bit right.
I think it got through most of the way. It started to hyzer through, but not sure what kind of look I'll have just yet.
Yeah, Evan here following suit.
Keeps it a little lower, trying to probably skip it through. I think I got caught up in some shrubs, but might have it outside the circle look.
Oh, man.
So not as clean as I thought he was going to have. And actually that clipped a branch pretty high up there and panned it out, so not too close to the basket.
Evan giving that a sturdy run. Ugh, that does not look fun in there.
This is John putting for his 2. Kind of just lays it up. This is where George's flex shot ended up. And he's a tight gap through the woods here, and
oh, wow.
I couldn't believe he made that putt.
Wow.
Such a great par save.
Just brustling for that par save. Oh, man.
Probably at least 40, 45 feet. Evan cleans up his par. I'm probably about 15 feet away, and I was trying to get my stance for at least 30 seconds, and there was just nothing there. Had to putt over some branches, and Was hoping for a better look, but I'll have to settle for par. As does everyone else, which is probably the most common score on that hole. Not too many twos.
So up next, we've got hole 22, 300 feet. The fairway leads down to a tree, which is in the middle of the fairway, and I guess that would probably be the tree you'd want to beat. A lot of righties throw backhand flip-ups with mid-ranges.
And the only danger really here is an early release, short left, almost impossible to save 3 from there, or if you turn it over and go short right. So anything, the majority down that gap is going to give you an outside the circle look. Yeah, John, I think it's one a fairway driver actually.
Mm-hmm.
Headed right for that tree as long as he missed. He knew.
Oh.
Yep.
Now we got George here. See if he can cat off just a little bit low.
Pulls it a little bit, but I think he should be on the edge at most. I'm actually forehanding my sidewinder here.
This is the forehand that you would see very often from Mr. Marwede. He excels at forehands like this with his Roadrunner.
Sidewinder, yeah. If it's not a backhand, I probably like it. Evan kind of did that miss I was talking about, short left, and he's going to have to throw a putter super high anhyzer, and couldn't actually see it on film, but he hit like a dead branch hanging off a tree like 20 feet in the air. It actually might have worked out, but unfortunate break as George just lays up.
There are a lot of vines on this course.
A lot of them are dead too. No, you don't really know. And they're hard to see from the tee pad too. As John gives his 60-footer a bid. Upset didn't get by that tree for a putt, but George is actually a little shorter than I thought.
He might have rushed that one a little bit.
Yeah. That was myself coming back for the 2.
Yeah, excellent too.
Yeah, it gets a little squirrely behind the basket. It's not as maintained back there.
Good save by George. Not happy about it though.
Got myself with a lone 2, a couple 4s, and a 3 on that hole. Got hole 23, 285 feet. This is actually the short pad. The long pad is we're not playing for the tournament, but the main play for this hole is either a straight mid-range or a big forehand hyzer out wide, and you can have the mistake of throwing it deep and hitting those branches or those trees right above the basket and dropping straight down. The only thing you don't want to do is leave it too low, get a big skip, and roll down that hill. So you either leave it short and have a death putt, or try and park it. Probably guessed it right. Throwing my Sexton Firebird here. Throwing it nice and wide. And there's kind of a left to right wind there, so it went a lot farther out of the hands than I thought I was going to, but
oh, did that tree save you?
it hits those trees just like I planned.
Got John Perry following suit. This little crow hop forehand. Not as right as you wanted.
Just gonna have a layup from there. Got George throwing the forehand, coming in nice. Actually, a little deep, and it's gonna be a little longer look than I think he was hoping for.
We got Evan up.
So we got 4 forehands in a row. Evan going with a lower shot, hoping for a nice little skip up to the basket. Gonna have a longer look.
Here we got John. He's got kind of a, probably smart layup.
Would you have ran it?
I would have tried.
Evan here definitely running this putt. Just right, and I think that sat down, but
It does take a lot of confidence to run death putts like that, though. You got George coming back uphill.
I asked him for it to sit. Evan misses his par comebacker, and he's going to have another death putt for his 4. Little right side, could have stuck, but unfortunate mistake there. John just tapping in his 3 and myself tapping for 2.
Yeah, this is a hole that I would say quite a few of the pros got deuces on. Definitely a lot easier since it's shortened up. I guess the reason why it was shortened up is because Farmer Gil is concerned about his crops this year, so we're not allowed to trample around in them. But yeah, into the hole we got 2 threes, a deuce by Andrew, and a 5. Hole 24, par 3, 333 feet.
This is also the short pin. The longer pin is about a couple hundred feet straight back. So putting the short pin here, the main objective is throwing something nice and stable, wide, most likely a forehand, trying to crash it in just before that big tree you see there on the left. Something to get yourself a look. I have seen the turnover too, a little bit tougher of a shot, but pretty much whatever you can get into that little bowl should work.
Yeah. I guess a roller could be an option too if you wanted it to be.
Right. Throw my destroyer here. Hits those trees, fights down, and probably about 35 feet short. You can see the wind kind of playing with that disc right now. It's kind of ripping as you can't really see the trees moving, but I promise it's there. John turns his fairway driver shot over a little bit. Not too happy about that.
We've got George getting a good push on it. Probably looking for that skip up to the green.
That's kind of the gap you want to hit too. Just kind of throws it a little bit low and has an unfortunate roll.
But he'll still have a look.
Right.
Just a little early.
It's kind of the mistake on this hole too, is leaving it short and right. He's gonna have a very tricky shot to save his par.
Yeah, this course is known to have some of the rougher rough in Michigan. Definitely want to stay in the fairway here.
John gives his jump putt a bid. Hits the pole. He's gonna have to finish with a par. Yeah, Evan here to save par. Just over top. George just outside the circle. He's gonna end his round on a high note.
Great putt by George.
George put it good the whole round too. Very impressed.
Speaking of other people who putted well this round, so did Mr. Marwede with another great 2.
Every once in a while. Got John tapping in here for the 3, and Evan's gonna put through the vines here.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Not even phased. So Andy, what kind of award did a Scarecrow win?
I have no idea, man.
He was outstanding in his field.
All right, so the back 12 scores here. We got John Perry with a shooting -1, Beno -3, myself with a -5, and Evan with the +2. So after round 1, we have Reid Frescura shooting the hot round, 10 down, 62, followed by Tim Barham, 63. Dan Treese and myself shooting a 64 to final up the lead card for round 2.
But I mean, overall, 8th place is only 4 strokes off the 6 strokes, off the lead, so it should be a close race going into round 2.
Thanks for watching. First round of the Kalamazoo Open, hosted by Crew 42. We'll see you guys for round 2.